Hello everyone, my name is Logan Metzen, and I would like you all to imagine a scenario for a second. You have graduated high school and are trying to take the next steps forward in life. You get to thinking, and you don't know what that next step is exactly. Instead of taking the more traditional route of going to college right after high school, you could take a gap year. But what is a gap year anyway? A gap year usually refers to postponing college education in the period of time immediately after high school. Although this is not always the case. A gap year can be a break in continuing education at any point in time. A gap year does also not have to be 12 months in length. Many people feel lost or unhappy in the period of time between high school and college, which makes a lot of sense to me if you think about it, because throughout our whole lives, the choices that affect us day to day are being made by our parents or someone else. You go through elementary school, and when you graduate elementary school, you're put in middle school. And when you go through middle school and graduate middle school, you're put into high school. And then after you go through high school and graduate, it's sort of up to you for the first time in your life where you really want to go, what route you really want to take. And that can be a bit of a kick in the rear for some people. No one is forcing you to sign up for that next semester of college or get a job in a certain field or anything. And it's easy to get lost when it's all up to you. Many people do have an idea that they would like to do, but it's just an idea. They don't know if they're actually going to like the field they want to go into. And by taking a gap year, it allows students to mature and grow as a person through their experiences during a gap year. Now, a study conducted by the British government in 2004 found that the amount of students that elected to take a gap year has been steadily increasing since the 80s. Taking a year off from school may seem like a waste of time, but I can assure you it is definitely not. A gap year is not meant to merely be a break, but to serve as a time for self-discovery or reform. Ben Goze, author of the article, "If at First They Don't Succeed," reports on how a gap year can build character. An excellent example in If at First They Don't Succeed of building character is with Christopher Nunez. Mr. Nunez was a B+ average student until he was expelled in his senior year for smoking marijuana in his dormitory building. The colleges Mr. Nunez applied to were all notified of this, and he was subsequently rejected from each of them. Because he was expelled, Mr. Nunez earned his GED and decided to take a gap year. During his gap year, Mr. Nunez worked with the American Red Cross in Alaska. Through the Red Cross, he taught first aid to school-aged children. He also went on to help people whose homes had been damaged by hurricanes in Alabama and Florida. Now, after his gap year was over, Mr. Nunez reapplied to the same colleges he did a year ago. But something changed. This time around, he was accepted by the University of Chicago. The Dean of Admissions had this to say about Mr. Nunez. "We felt he had grown and matured, and that his experience of having time off would add value to his experience here and be a benefit to other students." Through his experiences, Mr. Nunez was able to gain a positive life outcome that will benefit him during not only his college experience, but the rest of his life. Now, despite all of the benefits of taking a gap year, some people still believe it to be a bad idea and argue against it. People who are against taking a gap year make the argument that students who take time off from college are less likely to go back and return to college. They also make the argument that taking a gap year is the equivalent of delaying your life a year. Simply put, neither of these statements are true. A gap year provides students with the opportunity to grow and mature as a person in ways that simply going to college cannot. An excellent example of this is Grant Stauffer, a student who deferred enrollment to Colorado State University in order to participate in a leadership program. Stauffer's parents were one of these critics of the gap year. They were worried that it would cause Grant to take much longer, like 5 or 6 years, to earn the degree he wanted to get. However, Grant was able to earn 16 college credits for completing the leadership program, and he never had to enter a classroom in that time. According to Grant, every time I talk to someone who's already gone through college, 75% of them say that they wish they had done something like that in response to him taking a gap year. Before you sign up for classes next semester, you should think about how taking a gap year could benefit you. Talk to your peers, professors, and academic advisors. They may be able to share their own experiences or offer opportunities to you. A gap year allows one to improve themselves before taking more college classes. Think about that before you act. Thank you all for your time.